Hey, readers! Welcome back to another episode of Not Reading for Content. You are joining us at the start of one of our book club months. So, we will be reading the Sittaford Mystery in January by Agatha Christie, which we're very, very excited for. It is the first Agatha Christie for the podcast. But because of that, I want to start with our bookish bite, which is just to discuss what our history is with Agatha Christie. This is a prolific author, very well-known author, and so I think it would be interesting to see where both of us sit currently with Agatha Christie's canon.
Yeah, that is a really good place to start, especially because I'm sure that there will be some people who join us who maybe haven't read one book by Agatha Christie, and this will be their first, which is going to be an odd, unique way to be introduced to the author. So that'll be fun for them, hopefully. You and I have obviously read a little bit. I would imagine I've read far more than you just because I love the golden age. This is my bread and butter. And Agatha Christie was the person who introduced me to this subsection of the genre that I love so much. So I have read probably a third of her canon. She wrote a lot of books. So I'm in the 20s. So I've definitely read over 20 books by her. And my first experience, this will also be interesting to hear what people say who want to write in and let us know what their first Agatha Christie was, if it's not going to be the Sittaford Mystery, because for me, I went a very traditional route. It was And Then There Were None, her thriller that is very popular and was actually optioned. It was one of the things we might have read among other titles when we were trying to figure out what to read this month. If people are interested, go check out that process. We did an entire episode in November trying to figure out what to read, and we ended up landing on a Sittaford Mystery, and it was very exciting. So even though you already know the winner, it still would be a fun episode to go back and listen to. But yeah, I went the traditional route. This thriller set on an island that a lot of people start with. The reason why I started with it was because I had a teacher who did a mystery unit in middle school. So we were maybe 12, 13 years old. And I think that might be kind of a unique experience. So that really started my love of the genre as well, because I wasn't really a big reader. I didn't read mysteries before then. And the rest is history. But I will say I've dabbled in Poirot, dabbled in Miss Marple, in the partners in crime that are Tommy and Tuppence, our young adventurers. I've also read from Parker Pine, Mr. Quinn. I think I've experienced all of them, even Ariadne Oliver. But there's quite a few standalone detectives that I haven't even experienced yet. But yeah, enough of me explaining all of my credentials. I don't think I need to prove myself to everyone, so I don't know why I'm carrying on like this. But I'm very excited. And Danny, how about you? Where did you start with the Christie canon, and how comfortable are you with her works?
It was in recent years, actually, like within the past 3 or 4 years, that I started with Christie's writing. And I started with the Mysterious Affair Styles, which I'm pretty sure is her debut. Is that right?
It is. Oh, I love that you started with the first. That is amazing.
I'm not someone who typically reads in publication order or that cares to read in publication order unless obviously it's necessary with certain series. Obviously, you have to start in publication order, but so that was an interesting start. I really enjoyed that book a lot. And I find, at least with the three books, because I've only read three Agatha Christie's that I've read so far, I find her writing very nostalgic, even though obviously I hadn't read anything at that point in time. So that was my experience with Poirot. And then I went to The Secret Adversary, which was my
Yes, with
Tommy and
Tommy and
Tuppence.
Tuppence.
Yes, and then I jumped over to the first Miss Marple, which I am not remembering the name of.
Murder at the Vicarage.
Yes, that's been my most recent read, which is sad that I couldn't remember the name of it, but I wanted to experience kind of the big 3 that I know I hear a lot of Agatha Christie fans talk about, and so I just wanted to see where my favorite lies, and so far, Miss Marple is in the lead just by a little bit, but I do really enjoy Miss Marple.
Oh, I love to hear that, especially because, I mean, Miss Marple is a really big name in Christie's canon, of course, but I do think she gets overshadowed by Poirot sometimes. He's a bit more adventurous and, a bit more action-packed compared to the quiet, observant, nosy Miss Marple. But I really love her books as well. So, oh, wonderful. That's You really are making my day. You're making my month because we're reading an Agatha Christie together. So I'm very excited about that. But moving on from our bookish bite to the synopsis. Now, back in the episode when we were trying to decide what book to read, we did have a glimpse at the synopsis, but I'm going to refresh Danny and myself. And for those who are listening who haven't seen that episode, haven't listened to it, this will hopefully get us all on the same page. We'll still react, see what excites us, what intrigues us, and then the next thing we got to do is start reading. But first, the synopsis. The Sittaford Mystery is Dame Agatha at her most intriguing, as a seance in a snowbound house predicts a particularly grisly murder. In a remote house in the middle of Dartmoor, 6 shadowy figures huddle around a table for a seance. Tension rises as the spirits spell out a chilling message. Captain Trevelyan, ... Dead, ... Murder. Is this black magic or simply a macabre joke? The only way to be certain is to locate Captain Trevelyan. Unfortunately, his home is 6 miles away, and with snowdrifts blocking the roads, someone will have to make the journey on foot. What are our first reactions to that synopsis?
I love the fact that there is a seance involved. I think that the mixture of kind of spooky with wintry, we talked about this a little bit in the episode where we chose the book. I think it'll be perfect. It'll be a perfect transition from fall to winter. And also, I like an isolated setting. And I know you do as well, but like the snowdrifts, like being stuck in a place and kind of feeling like you have no way out, having to walk in a very cold environment. I imagine it's dark and like there's not a lot of obviously leaves or anything on the trees. So you kind of feel like people can see you from a mile away, but you also feel very alone. Like I feel it's very immersive. So I'm excited. Also, I think the first sentence you said it was like the best of Agatha Christie. These are like fighting words. It said something along the lines of like the best or most intriguing of Agatha Christie's works. It's like, okay, bet.
Yeah, hopefully put your money where your mouth is kind of situation because it does say most intriguing. And it's like, oh, all right. Some people might beg to differ. We'll see what happens. But I do think it'll be interesting because Christie does dabble with this idea of like black magic seances in a few of her books. I'm less familiar with those titles. And from the 3 books that you've listed, those that doesn't occur in those 3
Yeah.
books either. And so this will be interesting new departure for both of us when it comes to playing around with the suggestion of the paranormal and how will it be cleared up in the end. And I love that you did mention this isolated setting, the being snowbound. And yes, this idea of even as you're trekking, usually, you can see like it's very clear that you are in the middle of snow. Like it's very
Mhm.
easy to see you. So if
Yes.
someone is watching you from afar, they can track you quite well too. Like I'm not sure how much of the trekking we'll actually get in this book, but the cold weather, seances usually take place at night. And
Mhm.
if not, it's already going to be dark because if it's in the middle of winter, as we know, we typically don't have as much sunlight to deal with. So it's just going to be like a darker setting for most of the book, I imagine. And also the suggestion that Captain Trevelyan, is he dead? Is he not? Is it a way to lure him into the fold of this home and then he'll get
Okay.
killed? I actually don't know where this is going. And I'm hoping that we'll have a really good time with it. And hopefully we can make some guesses along the way as far as like who we think the killer is, what we think is going on. That'll be a really fun time with this being a spoiler filled podcast
Mhm.
because we're not holding anything back. And so we're literally going to have to work together to see if we can solve this thing. And that's going to be a really fun time.
It'll be fun, but no promises that any of my theories are correct because usually they're not.
Oh, likewise. Christy is very good at tricking me as well in the past. So no promises, friends, but we're going to do our best.
Yes. Well, we need to get to reading to see what theories we do have and see if any of our predictions on what this book is going to look like actually work out. So you need to know what to read. Next Friday, we will be coming together to read or to talk about the first third of the book. And that will be chapter 1 through chapter 11, which is roughly 70-ish pages, depending on what edition you guys have physically.
Oh, and one more thing. before we send you all off to read the first third of the book, the first 11 chapters, you might have difficulty finding a book of this title, The Sittaford Mystery, because you're looking for the wrong title in your area, in your country. Because when it comes to Agatha Christie, because she was publishing in the UK and the US at the time, and publishers were known for changing titles because they think an American audience may be more attracted to these words rather than others, and vice versa. My copy, for instance, is not The Sittaford Mystery. It is Murder at Hazelmoor. So whether you're looking on Libby, Hoopla, another library app, your library, secondhand shop, that might be the title that you find rather than The Sittaford Mystery. But with that, friends, the next thing we got to do is just read. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey. We hope that you are having a lovely start to December, and we'll see you all next week. Happy reading. Bye.